Inside Arkansas.
Well, I knew we got a lot to get into because I'm fired up. So it's a 2 Red Bull kind of conversation.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. No, things are good. Neighbors, we got to play golf. Look what showed up today. Saracen head covers and Saracen Pro Vs. So y'all, let me ship some of these to y'all.
Yeah. Listen, I'm always looking for some golf balls to lose because that's usually what goes.
I'm the same way. You know, our golf balls litter the country clubs of Little Rock. Somebody said they found one in their front yard the other day. That's a hell of an out of bounds.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That would be me. But hey, that's part of it, Carlton. And
so I know you want to talk about sports betting, but we got to talk about the Hogs. We got to talk about NIL. We got to talk about why is Saracen talking about Chinese gambling. I mean, there's so much to unwrap, but I got to start with one thing way off topic if we can.
Let's do it.
You know, we caught a lot of hell for insisting that we could do sports betting better than other folks could here as an Arkansas company. And, you know, I don't know. Did y'all see what DraftKings did a week or two ago? They announced a winning surcharge.
Oh, really now?
Yeah. I mean, this is so dumb that we got to talk about it. I know this is why I'm not on today, but like, so with DraftKings, if you win, there is a surcharge. I guess it's like some kind of Uber Eats fee. And they claim it's to pay their taxes. Like, I kind of thought that's what the business did, was pay their taxes. We pay 20% of what we win to the state of Arkansas. So, yeah, for everybody that said we want DraftKings in Arkansas, I respect it. But what you were asking for was a company that only wants to charge you a surcharge on winning bets. They're not gaming the odds. You would think they would just take 110 to 113, right? And maybe make a little more money and pay the taxes themselves. Oh, no, they're going to break it out, and they're calling it a winning bet surcharge. So, you know.
That's wild behavior.
The desire for DraftKings has died down a little bit.
There's always little fine details in all those fun sign-up things that DraftKings or FanDuel or whoever's doing. There's always a little fine print there that you're like, oh, wait, I don't like that as much.
Well, we catch hell because, you know, we're not big on free play. And that doesn't mean we won't always be big on free play. We do millions of dollars in free play on the gaming floor every month here. But, you know, be careful what you ask for. When people ask for free play, a lot of times you've got these playthrough requirements. They'll make you risk the money 5, 6, sometimes as many as 10 times before you can cash it out. And if we ever offer anything, it'll be a one-time playthrough. So that is, you bet it, you win it, it's yours. So anyway, enough about that. But I caught hell. The last time I was this fired up was when we were trying to legalize sports betting. And it was a war. And it was a war, not so much to get it done, but it was a war with the DraftKings and the FanDuels that wanted to run Arkansas. And I am dying laughing. The idea of charging a surcharge, a junk fee. It's like the resort fee you pay at hotels. I'll be in Vegas on Wednesday, John. I'm sure I'll pay some $25 junk fee in my hotel. But the idea of charging a surcharge as a fee on winning bets is outrageous. You will never see that with Bet Saracen. Never.
Well,
that's insane.
Yeah, that's the thing, Carlton, because when, you know, going back to, when I saw your tweets a couple days ago, I'm like, Carlton Saffa is not a guy who, like many Razorback fans, that just get mad online every day of his life and just goes crazy. I'm like, so when I saw that you were very passionate about something, I was like, okay, this is something that's pretty big and pretty serious. And I know that, you know, you've been kind of the pioneer in here in the state of Arkansas with sports betting and the betting app, and, you know, you mentioned NIL. So for those that saw what you were tweeting about and, you know, what I retweeted about and everything, just kind of give a breakdown of what's been going on and what got you so fired up.
Okay, so let's talk. And I mean, you're never going to get anything but the straight dope from me. And you know that, John, right?
Of course, yeah.
And a really cool thing happened in my life. I worked in politics for a long time. And in that world, you have to be kind of, you know, toe the line, walk the middle. But it's like the gloves are off in business, right? And I can be very direct. So I want to start this story, and y'all are going to have to interrupt me or we're going to be here till supper, because this is all we've been doing since March. This story begins in China. I realize that sounds like the beginning of I need like a better trailer voice. This story. No, but realistically, this story begins in China. Now, what I'm not going to do is name the names of these apps because I don't want people to download them. And I agree with Senator Tom Cotton when he says, sorry, if you have, oh, by the way, on my damn Apple, I don't know if y'all have this. If you do this, you get the thumbs up. You may see that
like that.
And pardon me if you get some random stuff. But I agree with Senator Tom Cotton and his position on TikTok. It was a big war I had with my 13-year-old daughter, and I think I lost it because I think she has TikTok. But Cotton says if you have a Chinese app on your phone, delete the app and get a new phone, right? And I love that Temu has become a joke, right? Like it's this great internet meme, like Temu knockoffs of stuff, right? But the Chinese are not our friends, and I'm not trying to be like racial or be a bigot or be a jerk. They're not our friends, okay? And so all of this stuff is designed to either harvest data or do far worse. So don't listen to me. You can listen to industry experts, and John, I'll send you this when we get done. But there are industry experts that point to Chinese gaming apps funding terrorism. I read that and I was like, damn, they went terrorism, like not just crime, but terrorism, right? But the federal government has said, look, these Chinese gambling apps or China-linked gambling apps are money laundering, they're criminal organizations, and in some instances even linked to terrorism. And as crazy as this sounds, you can download them today in Arkansas and play slot machines for real money on your couch. And I don't care if you're in Pangburn or Paragould, it's there, right? I can do it today in Pine Bluff. I could sit in my office at Saracen and play a Chinese slot machine app on my phone. And we're not talking about something like on the dark web, like you got to get a Tor browser and go deep into the dark of the web. No, it's on the App Store. They operate through a loophole called sweepstakes. And it's something that's very difficult to clean up. It's complicated how they do it, but what you need to know is that today in Arkansas, I'll tell you the name of the parent company. If people don't believe me, they can look them up. The parent company is called VGW. They're based in Australia. Their servers are in Malta, and they operate in some really dark waters with some really shady money. People go, well, how big a deal can this be? The sweepstakes casino folks, which is the polite name for these illegal casinos, they made $3 billion in the first quarter of this year. That's more than the Las Vegas Strip made, right? Like $3 billion in online illegal gambling. So you download this app in Arkansas. There's no consumer protection. They don't pay you. What do? Who are you going to call? It's not legal, right? It's like if you're buying drugs from some guy on the street corner and he stiffs you, who do you call, right? I mean, you have no recourse. So that's number one. Number two, there's no particular concern for how old you are. They may claim they care, but it's not like us. I mean, y'all have Bet Saracen accounts. You've seen the KYC. It's the same kind of stuff. If you open a bank account online or apply for a mortgage online, we know it's you. The penalties from this are from the Treasury Department, and they're as much as $250,000 per instance for violation. We also have to collect all kinds of other data on you. It's not because we're snooping. It's because we care. We don't want a 15-year-old betting sports. A 15-year-old has no business betting sports. They don't care how old you are. They don't care where you are. They have no concerns for responsible gaming. So that's a big deal too, right? Somebody has a problem with gambling. In the casino business, we have an obligation that extends any of the other sin businesses, right? So like, let's say you've been sober for 5 years, and you walk into a bar on Dixon Street and you say, hey man, I've been sober 5 years. Let me get a Bud Light. They have no obligation to not serve you, right? You walk into a casino and you say, I have a problem gambling. Where is the nearest Wheel of Fortune machine? We have an obligation morally and legally to prevent you from playing if you identify as a problem gambler, right? The guys in this, these people don't care. And again, it wouldn't be a big deal if this was just like some backroom operator with 3 slot machines, $3 billion a year. So, I really respect what the leadership in Arkansas have done with regard to China, and not just Senator Cotton's national perspective about China, but look, I'm a big fan of what Tim Griffin has done with regard to kick China out. I'm a big fan of what Governor Sanders has done with regard to kick China out. And in my own little tiny casino world, this is our mission, is to kick China out. All right. So you two are still saying, what the hell does this have to do with the Hogs?
Man, get it out,
I know it's coming.
So all that was March. We wrote a letter to the Racing Commission, which is the casino regulator, that basically said, we want to do what the state of Michigan did. So here's what the state of Michigan did. And look, we probably got people from Michigan watching this. I get it. There's some beautiful parts of Michigan. There's some less than beautiful parts of Michigan. But I never thought I would say I want to do what Michigan does. But that's my message. I want to do what Michigan did, because what Michigan did was awesome. So in Michigan, they knew they had a problem, and they took very aggressive enforcement action against these guys. But again, how do you stop somebody whose servers are in Malta, right? You can't. How do you shut them down? So what they did was they sent lots of nasty letters, lots of stop what you're doing. They looked for any kind of nexus with a bank, with a lawyer, with a consultant, with anything. They sent guys with windbreakers and nasty letters. But even then, these China link casinos continued. Same time in Michigan, we saw the rise of online gaming. And so in Michigan, you saw companies like Hard Rock or Four Winds or some of the other major casino operators in the state of Michigan create online gaming platforms. And we are talking here about the same stuff the Chinese are doing, slot machines and table games on your phone, except instead of it being illegal, it's now legal, which means you have to be 21, it's taxed, it's regulated, you have all the same standards. In Michigan, an amazing thing happened, John. These companies pulled out completely. And I've never seen this before. They left the state and they left with a press release. You can Google it, like Google VGW. That's the parent company. VGW leaves Michigan. And you'll find a press release. It'd be like if the cartel put out a document that said, we are no longer shipping fentanyl into Arkansas. They left. And they left because they said the heat is on us and reputable people are doing this. So why are we pouring millions of dollars into the state of Michigan to market our questionably legal product? I contend very illegal product. The heat's on us, law enforcement's chasing us, and the real casinos are doing it. So they saw month over month declines, and they finally just said, to hell with it, we're gone. That press release basically told their players, you got 90 days to get your money out of your accounts. Peace out. We're going to another state. And by God, they did. So today in Arkansas, you will be hammered with ads. One of them uses Ryan Seacrest as their pitch man. And they're everywhere. I got to give them credit. They're good at their marketing. They're on Reddit. They're on YouTube, Google AdWords. They get it. They're $3 billion a quarter. They're good at what they do. But they have no regard for regulation. There's no licensure. There's no taxation. So we wanted to take them out, Michigan style. Boy, that sounds really kind of mobbed up, doesn't it? Take them out, Michigan style. Mm-hmm. So now let's talk about the Hogs. So late June, early July, I get a call from Northwest Arkansas. And it went something like this. Hey, this thing you're working on that would put games online. Yeah. Could we do 50-50 drawings for the NIL? And I said, and I'll never forget this. I was leaving Pine Bluff and I was heading to our family's place in Hot Springs. And I was at Diamond Head. I had one bar on my cell phone. And I said, I got to call you back. I'm intrigued, but I don't want to hip shoot. There have been so many bad promises about NIL money and false hopes and bad rumors. Like, if I'm going to tell you we can do it, I want to know we can do it. Give me an hour and I'll call you back. And I remember this because my wife took our son water skiing and she was giving me hell about sitting on the back porch with my laptop like a nerd on a Friday night. And first thing I did was I read the lottery amendment. And the lottery can't do it. They're precluded. There's real tight parameters on what the lottery could do. Then the next thing I did was I read the charity raffle provisions. And a charity can't do it because they can't engage in electronic sales of tickets. And then I thought, well, could a stadium do it in venue? Well, you can't do electronic. It'd be cash only. Could a casino do it? And I thought, can we do a drawing? And then I thought, you dummy, you do a drawing every month. You do a car. We got a $114,000 Lexus out there in the lobby right now we're going to give away. Of course, casinos can do drawings. We do one every month. We're going to do a drawing. So we added language into Rule 5, this rule that we want to amend at the Racing Commission, that would allow us to do drawings, not where we make any money, where all the money either goes to the person with the winning ticket or to the NIL. We know what 50-50 means, right? If you've been to a Chiefs game, you've seen it. If you've been to, you've been anywhere, you know what a 50-50 is. I've learned, John, in the last month that people either absolutely know what a 50-50 drawing is or they've never heard of the damn thing, right?
We've all lost our fair share of money on a 50-50.
Yeah. So we put in their language that would allow 50-50. And we have been very polite. And I will continue to be very polite because that's the way that I think we do things in Arkansas. We're a small state. You don't burn bridges. and I am not here to throw stones. And I hate to break it to y'all, I'm not going to name names. But what I will tell you set me off on Friday was when I learned that someone associated with the University of Arkansas was messaging that there was not a need for NIL funding.
There is always a need for NIL.
Yeah.
There is never too much of that.
I mean, so here we go, right? Let's open the second Red Bull. How the hell is that true? I mean, this is a tough one to talk about, right? We're all Hog fans. I told a reporter yesterday, my kids don't have any choice. That's where they're going to school. And look, I was a Razorback, not by birth, by choice. Y'all don't hold it against me. I grew up in Oklahoma. My dad went to OU. My mom went to OU. My sister went to OU. You know, I mean, I'm a Razorback by choice, but I bleed Razorback red. Hell, there's a game ball, all right? I mean, like, just right here behind me on my desk. It's tough to talk about the need for NIL money because it sounds like the program is weak. And that's not what I'm implying. I don't care if you're in Texas. If you have the potential to raise hundreds of thousands of dollars a week through a program that does not require you to call billionaires, you do it. And that's what we did. So we built the technology. No one has done it for NIL. To my knowledge, it's never been done anywhere in the United States to do online 50-50s, not in stadium, anywhere in Arkansas. And we have the app, we have the relationships with the payment processors, the know your customer folks, the geolocation folks. It took us so long to get Bet Saracen right, to get the payments right, to get the location right, to get the onboarding right. We have all those relationships and we have the tech stack ready. So our plan is to launch a new product that we will call Play Saracen. Play Saracen will include all the things we need to displace the Chinese. So slots, table games, and the like. And that is the core policy position. Like, I know we're here to talk about the Hogs, and I want to help the Hogs, but the real need for this was taking out the Chinese. Because there's going to be a point in a few years, and this is what I've told state legislators, there's going to be a point in a few years where y'all look at me and you go, what happened? You know, your receipts are going backwards. What's going on? Because remember, they get 20% of our taxes, right? They're 20% of our win, rather. So if we make $1, they get 20 cents. And so when they call and say, what's going on? Your numbers are going backwards. I'm going to say, duh, I'm watching it happen, right? We know what's happening, right? These apps are eating us alive. It's not begun to happen yet, but there's no doubt that they're here and in a big way. And I learned that you pull weeds when they're small, because when they get bigger, they're harder to pull out. So I want to pull this weed when it's small. But the idea that we could help the Hogs, oh, and by the way, we built it for the Red Wolves, for the Golden Lions. I'd like to do it for UCA. Somebody asked me this morning about the Mule Riders and SAU, and the answer is yes, 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 and yes. The product is modular and it works. I learned, by the way, that apparently they're talking about us on an Ole Miss message board. And I will tell you, we will absolutely not license this technology to Ole Miss. No way in hell are we going to help another state. Whether or not Arkansas does this, we'll just eat the millions we've got invested in the tech stack and go on. But we are not going to recoup our money by giving it to another state. That's not the way Arkansas companies operate. Why would someone say Arkansas does not need NIL money? Because the sense of urgency was not so much about kicking the Chinese out. It needs to happen. I've been screaming about it since March. We did press on this in March about the need to regulate this so that children aren't gambling on the internet, so that if people are gambling on the internet, that there can be taxes and there can be responsible gaming. But it's really weird. Like, I think about the NIL, I have all these stupid analogies like the cherry on top or, the spoonful of sugar. But the one that makes the most sense to me is it's the caboose that got bolted on the back of this train, right? This train that we were going to use Michigan style to take out these offshore groups. So the NIL is the caboose on this train. But because of the strength of Razorback Nation and because of the urgency with which we need money for Hog football, the caboose is now driving the train, if you follow what I mean.
Sure.
So that was our sense of urgency. So for whatever reason, someone has begun to message to state officials that we don't need the NIL money. And I don't know why. All I can surmise is that someone wants to stop a policy proposal. And I'll let you draw your own conclusions as to why. Perhaps they don't like it. Perhaps they're willing to let Hunter fail. Perhaps they may not be as ready to go to market as we are. I don't know. This is all speculative. But what I'm telling you is that when I got word that senior officials in state government were told that there is no immediate need for money for NIL, I lost it. I lost it. So, John, you'll appreciate this. I don't think y'all don't have kids, do you? Not
no.
Over 3.
Right? No kids that I know of.
No kidding.
I was at Pleasant Valley with my 8-year-old who has now figured out that it's important to line up, which took us a long time to understand that you need to line your shot up. Trying to explain to him the importance of lining up. I put the sticks down, the whole bit, and I get this call and I'm like, oh my God. So half those tweets were sent from the driving range at Pleasant Valley with me just in meltdown mode. But it was one of those moments like, that old movie, Michael Douglas Falling Down, where he's at McDonald's and he's got like the bag full of guns because they won't serve him breakfast. That was like my moment where I was like, enough is enough. If we have resorted to outright lies about the state of our program in order to slow down help for Coach Pittman, I got to say something. And that's where we are. So look, John, you've seen the product. It's ready. We are ready. And we would have been ready for the first game in Little Rock to do drawings. What we need is a hearing in front of the Racing Commission where I will talk mostly about the Chinese because that is the core issue here. But I struggle with how can we, somebody said Arkansas is going to Arkansas, right? Like, how can we shoot ourselves in the foot on something that just makes such sense? People are already gambling online in this state, and they're doing it with people who hate our country and are using the money against us. So let's do it, and let's do it responsibly, and let's tax it, and let's regulate it. When you give those permissions to the casinos to do it, we're ready to roll with 50-50 drawings. And by the way, I am proud to tell you that Saracen has an agreement with the university. It's over $1 million a year for all that signage. And all that signage I intend to convert to one purpose. Download Play Saracen, support the NIL, and buy your ticket today. And we got coaches show programming. We've got, ads in the program. We got people like you. I've got people like, Rainwater or Wes Moore or whoever it may be. All of our friends in other networks and other stations who we work with, who talk about Bet Saracen, who I'm going to ask to quit talking about the sports book and start talking about the drawing. Let me give you some numbers, okay? So the Cowboys do, I got another screen over here. I finally broke down and went 2-screen. I thought I'd never do this.
Good.
All right. So the Cowboys just started doing raffles. They're in stadium only. And you got to be there. It's like at the Chiefs game, like y'all know, right? You got to go to the guy and buy the tickets. Okay. So the numbers aren't huge, right? I mean, as they went along, they got better. So, like you see, I don't know, the games in November, December of last year, you had pots at like 143,000, 110,000, 145,000, which means $145,000 pot. The winner got 72,000. The charity got 72,000. So if we did that number, then NIL would have gotten 72,000. That ain't it, okay?
Yeah.
Although I'll tell you, if we call Coach Pittman and said you want 72,000 a week, what do you think he's going to say?
He'll find a way to use it.
Yeah, he'll find a way.
Let's get serious here for a minute. So we've already been to China. We've already been to Fayetteville. Let's go to Alberta, Canada. In Alberta, Canada, they run online 50-50s for hockey. And I'm not smart enough with technology to screen share. So, John, I'll send this to you. But I'm just scrolling through the winning pictures on the gallery. I'll just read to you the drawings in Alberta. And so, by the way, let's do a couple of you didn't know we'd go so global on this, did you? but it gives you
Love it.
some idea of how much homework we've done on this topic, right? So Alberta has about 4 million people, a little over 4 million people. You have to be in Alberta to buy these tickets. You'll have to be in Arkansas to buy our tickets. So they're a little bit bigger than we are. We got about 3 million people. They got a little over 4 million people, but basically we're in the same zone, right? So the first one I'm looking at was 1.183 million, $1,183,000 in their drawing. That's hockey in Alberta, benefiting a charity, right? I feel like we could come close to that in Arkansas.
Probably.
So week 2, $2.7 million. That means that would be $2.7 million to the NIL. Now, I want to be clear, y'all. Am I promising week 2, $2.7 million to the Razorbacks? No. Give me a little bit of time to ramp it up. But I think you're going to see a hell of a lot closer to Alberta numbers with online sales than you do Cowboys numbers with in-stadium sales. But let's just read through a few more. All right, the next week kind of sucked. It was only $400,000. The number I've heard is that we need another $600,000 a month for the Razorbacks. I don't know if that's true, but if that's true, 1 week we'd be almost there. All right, what do we got next? And then I'll quit reading these to you. 554, 706, 385, 1.2 million. They had one drawing where they had 14 million in the pot, and the winner got 7 and the charity got 7. And I don't know that we'll ever get there. But what I do know, John, when people say, what kind of numbers will these throw off? Well, no one's ever done this before. So let's do it. Okay. But I know that the online component is a multiplier. So I feel very comfortable in saying our numbers will be more like the Oilers than they are any 50-50 you've experienced with in-person sales. So let's just pick a number. Let's call it $250,000 a week. I feel like that's very reasonable. It may take us a week or two to get the word out. But again, we're going to point that $1 million plus in advertising straight at buy your drawing tickets. Let's say we could get to $250,000 a week to the NIL. $1 million a month. I think that would help. Unless, of course, we don't need NIL money, which is the message that apparently was being delivered. But I have a feeling that these numbers will be a lot more than 250,000. What happens if this becomes $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 a week? That's not what I'm promising, but that's the potential here. We could look at a situation where we have an NIL war chest that rivals any in the country. The other thing I know about raising money, because I've been suckered into doing a few charities over the years, is that nobody wants to give to a charity that doesn't have much money in it, that these things snowball. And so once you have lots of money, people are more willing to give money. So this doesn't displace the philanthropic class that give checks with lots of zeros on it. It just emboldens them to give more. So when you've got a dependable stream of folks who are giving money on 50-50 drawings, I think it makes it that much easier for Hunter Yurachek and Sam Pittman to make calls to the billionaires and centimillionaires. I learned that word the other day. I wanted to use it, 100 millionaires, to give, because we're winning, right? Like let's be what Alabama was. Let's be what Georgia is. And so if you've got a dependable stream of a couple 100,000 a week, you can just bank on. It makes it easier to go raise that money. Or for God's sake, and I'm not here to say give them a break, but there's about 20 people in our state that pay for everything, and let's give them a break, right? I mean, were it not for the generosity of people like the Tysons, we'd be even worse off. So, yeah, that's my story. This to me is an absolute no-brainer. People say it's an expansion of gaming. I got news for you. We already have online gaming in Arkansas, and it's being run with people who hate our country. People say, well, you can't do it legally. And let's talk about that. If that's the case, then the sports books are illegal. So when Amendment 100 passed, it said the casinos have this authority. And this authority is really broad. It is, we can do anything for money as long as it involves cards, dice, mechanical, electromechanical, or electronic devices. You can tell that I've read that more than a few times and quoted it more than a few times. Well, a drawing on your phone is clearly an electronic device, right? But geography, we keep getting back to this, right? The first rules come out for casino gaming in 2019, and they said you can play poker on your phone for real money in Arkansas. Now, at Saracen, we believe in poker. My friends in West Memphis and Hot Springs don't have poker rooms, but we have a poker room here, the only live legal poker room in Arkansas. And we eventually will have a poker app. We're a little busy building a 15-story hotel and everything else. We're only 5 years old, right? We'll have 1 million square foot under roof by next fall. But we have every intention of turning poker on. But the crazy thing is, we've had poker for real money legal since day one in Arkansas. And the sun still rose. Nobody freaked out. You know, nobody lost their minds. We all didn't go to hell. We've had poker since day one. 2022, sports betting was really a question of geography. That's it. You had a lot of verbiage about technical standards, geolocation, the Wire Act, know your customer. But at the end, John, it was about geography, because originally sports betting was within the 4 walls of a casino. And then the rule change was really geographic. It said, nope, now it's good within the 4 borders of our state. And that's the same thing we're doing here. In fact, we're amending the rule that allows poker. And we're using all the technical standards for the sports book to ensure that it's done correctly. So 2019, we make geographic distinctions. This thing is, there we are with the thumbs up. This thing is okay in the casino. This thing is okay anywhere in Arkansas. 2022, these things are okay in the casino. These things are okay anywhere in Arkansas. And what we're looking for is 2024. All the things this casino can do are good anywhere within the state of Arkansas. Again, if that's not legal, the original rules for poker were not legal, which were based on Nevada regulations, and the rule allowing sports betting was not legal. So I am confident enough in our legal position that my response to someone who says this isn't legal is cool, then turn the sports books off, because they are based on exactly the same legal rationale. One other thing that's kind of cool is, since we passed sports betting, we actually now have case law that backs this up. So you had a really complicated case in Florida that I won't bore you with. Here we are with more geography. But you had a really complicated case in Florida that really boiled down to, where does the bet take place? That was the core question. So it went through the Florida courts. It went to the appellate court. They wanted it to go to the Supreme Court. The United States Supreme Court declined to take the case. But what the decision was at the end in Florida, and this was about sports betting, but it's irrelevant because a bet's a bet, right? In Florida, the question was, where does the bet physically take place? And the question was, is it the guy sitting on the beach in Destin betting the game? I don't even know why I got fireworks.
Congrats.
Love that one.
Man. I love Apple, but I'm beginning to rethink this dedication to Steve Jobs. I wonder what happens if I do this.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, the rain comes down.
Probably the Chinese in my computer. Okay, so in Florida, they said, no, a bet is legally recorded where the servers are located. It doesn't matter where you are. And we got federal case law on this, right? And I don't intend to go to court, because we don't need to go to court, and we won't go to court. That's not how we are. The arguments are on our side, and it's there. But to somebody that says this is not legal, then they would have said it's not legal in 2022, when my friends who we began with, DraftKings, threw everything but the kitchen sink at us to try to stop us. I actually think they threw the kitchen sink at us, and it still didn't stop us. But now we even have case law backing up our argument. So all we're asking for is a rule change at the Racing Commission that would allow us to do the Michigan thing, to knock out the Chinese. And by the way, let's help the hogs. So kick China out, help the hogs. And with that, I've given you like a very calm version of my Twitter rant.
Oh, well, that
was some questions, right?
Well, see, that was the thing, is I actually had like a couple questions, but like you answered pretty much all of them that I had. And
this is why it's dangerous. You can't really have me on, because it's probably my last appearance, because it's
people are loving it, man. The chat's loving it.
Yeah.
Really? I mean, so I look really bald on this camera. Have I been busted out for that?
No, actually, only our physical appearance gets made fun of, not yours.
Yeah,
You've been pretty
it's a
good.
safe space for guests, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So all right, the Zen thing. I'm like I'm an old school Zen bro. We probably got some Zen guys in the chat. This will get them fired up.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
old school, man. I use the one that still has tobacco in it. You got to go. So this predates Zen. Sorry.
There we go.
I know. Yeah,
I'm
Zen.
winning right now.
Yeah. Zen. It seems like everybody's doing it these days. But
Did you see the thing they're using in the presidential race? I don't want to get political, but I thought this was hilarious. RNC Research put out a big hit piece on the guy from Minnesota, Walls. He put a 95% tax on Zen. That got people fired up, man. You don't mess with the Zen, right?
That's probably a smart play there. I mean, Zen's powerful these days.
Zen is powerful.
yeah, it's very powerful. And yeah, but that's the thing, Carlton, with like the NIL angle and all of that. Like that's something that I know we've been here with Inside Arkansas, but also like for years since it started. Seems like people in our audience, they always want to know more about NIL and what's going on and how it can be done more. And last, we talked about somebody saying that, they have enough NIL or there's too much NIL or whatever. It's just ludicrous because I know like Curtis is, we talked about with Razorback basketball, like basketball team, you get 13 guys or whatever. It's like, how much money would you need NIL wise to field like a national championship caliber team? And, numbers somewhere between between 4 to 6, 5, 7 million. That's just for one team. So
the cost of business goes up every year too. And until it's regulated, that's going to continue to happen. So there's never too much or never enough NIL. You can always use more. And Arkansas fans have been starved, I think, not only to get caught up, but to be on the front end of something innovative and get out ahead of an idea. And this seems, like it could be one of those opportunities.
So, there's an old saying in politics that you don't have to have more money to win, but you have to have enough. Right. And I hope y'all understand what I mean. Like,
right.
When somebody says, I want to run for dog catcher, how much do I need to run? Well, this would be enough. This would be way more than enough. But if you don't have enough, it's game over. Right. And so my concern for my alma mater is that we have enough, because you are exactly right. This becomes an arms race at some point, right? Where if we've got 30 million, somebody's going to get 40 million and we're going to need 50 million. And, like I've been dramatic enough, right? Like it's like the Cold War, right? Like with nuclear bombs and everything else, right? But it becomes a bit of an arms race, right? What I'm saying is we have something that belongs to Saracen. It was a custom built piece of technology that we have no desire to give to anybody else, but we do want to use it for ASU, for UCA, for the U of A. We want to use it to help our state. And I want to make it very, very clear, because this is a misconception that I've heard. This is not a monopoly. What I am proposing, I'm the only one talking about it. What I am proposing are all of these tools to take out China and make money and create taxable events in Arkansas for all the casinos. And it is my sincere hope, while we are the one with the massive advertising agreements with the University of Arkansas, we also have an agreement with Arkansas State. My sincere hope is that my friends in West Memphis and Hot Springs would offer these drawings as well. I can't speak for them. I won't speak for them. Look, we're colleagues. We compete with each other, but we get along great. My hope is that they also run these drawings. And then my real hope is that after we get this up and everybody's got this rolling, that we do what y'all see at pro sports events, which is the drawing brought to you by somebody. So, once we're rolling, we'd be willing to actually pay for the right to do the drawing. Or hell, maybe Walmart will pay $10 million for it and we can put that in the NIL pot, right? It gives Learfield something else to sell, or it gives them something else to sell. This is, again, the caboose we bolted on to help, because it's a good idea. It was a good idea about just getting rid of China. But if you can kick China out and help the hogs, why aren't we doing this yesterday? And I'm speaking in circles, John, but it's a frustration point, because we've been sitting on this quietly trying to work through it for about a month. And back to the tweets, I lost it Friday night. I lost it. I mean, we don't need NIL money. There's There's no way you can believe that. And in some ways that killed some of the sense of urgency on the movement of this. Look, I'll be honest too. The casino will make a bunch of money, not on the drawing, from online gaming. And, fine. We have 800 employees here. We'll soon have close to 1,200. We have $550 million invested in a building in Pine Bluff that used to be my friend Ford Trotter's Dove Field, right? Like, I'm proud of what we've done and I'm proud of what we're doing. We pay an enormous amount in gaming taxes and are glad to. But I would like to pay gaming taxes on these same slot plays that, frankly, are going in the pockets of folks that hate our country. And I know I sound a bit dramatic, but that is what we're talking about here. Kick the Chinese out and let's help the hogs while we're at it. But to say that we don't need NIL money in an effort to slow me down, no bueno, man. No bueno.
Yeah. No one really wins from that, because I'll be honest. When I heard the stadium naming rights for Razorback Stadium was up, I was thinking that Saracen was going to try to name it Saracen Razorback Stadium, something crazy like that too.
I mean, we're a big business, but I mean, we ain't got nothing on Walmart, right? We'll let those boys have it. But that's my story, right? And I'm confident enough in my story. We put together something we call the Rule 5 playbook, which is ultimately what we're changing, the poker rule, right? Because we're just creatively changing the poker rule. And I'm confident enough that I actually will distribute my quote Rule 5 playbook to anyone, for or against me. I mean, I know that's kind of bold, but like my arguments for and against this, all right, true confession. I was a college debater. My wife gives me hell about it. It is nerdy, but look, I'm balding and I'm wearing a blue blazer. Like, I guess it fits, right? That's fact. But like, I'm confident enough in our argument that I will give all the pros and cons to anyone who wants them. My ask is that we have a public hearing where we can discuss this. And you know what? If we go into a hearing and the Racing Commission says no, okay. But why keep all this bottled up? And why the desperation with lines like, we don't need NIL money? That's what put me over the top, brother.
Hey, I can understand it, man.
So I'm going to send you this stuff. I don't know if we can do what the Oilers can do, but surely, I mean, if our numbers are about like Alberta in terms of population, I have to think that our numbers will be much more like Alberta, multi-million-dollar jackpots, than they will in stadium sales at Jerry World. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I don't know, what did I miss?
Man, if you missed something, I'd like to know what it was, because like I said, you covered like any question that I had, like you nailed. So,
and here's the bottom line: we're ready to go. We were ready to go yesterday. We're ready, and I want everyone to run these raffles if they so desire. And we want, as Saracen, we want to run a raffle for every collegiate program that wants one. We asked our folks to build this at scale so it could take tens of thousands of transactions at the same time, and that it could simultaneously run raffles. In the example I sent you, John, and folks, it's not something we're sharing publicly. I did 2 little screenshots just to give some idea that I was real. I'm not cool enough to say I brought receipts, which is probably what I probably should have said on Twitter. But we gave 2 little snippets. John's seen the full product. We even have it set up so, there's a part of football season where we overlap with basketball, where we can run these at the same time. So we'd have a basketball and we'd have a football. And, it's neither here nor there. But my hope would be that we would take a raffle and run it football season long and let that pot get huge, a couple of $1 million, right? And then we do weekly drawings. The other thing is we don't even have to do them for home games only. We can do them for away games, right? So, in a perfect world, we run this. Hogs Plus goes and interviews the winner. We play the winner on the Jumbotron at the next game, and everybody buys their drawing tickets, and we're off to the races. So that's my story, right? And I guess the only argument against it would be like, what you're proposing is an expansion of gaming, or you can't be telling the whole story. No, that's it. We'll make some money on this. We'll make a lot of money on this. Most of it will be at the expense of illegal actors. And we know it works because we watched it happen in Michigan. And by God, we need to get Coach Pittman money. Let me kind of end with this. We have a saying here at Saracen. My customer interactions are very limited. I mean, I'm on the floor all the time. I know our players, but in a week, I don't interact with as many players as one of our frontline employees does in a shift, right? I have fewer customer interactions in a week than they do in a shift. And so I don't really know what is exactly wrong. So what is my job here? My job is to equip our team with the tools they need to do their job at Saracen. What is our job as Arkansans? It is to equip Coach Pittman with the tools that he needs to get this done. And whether you like NIL or hate NIL, and I'm not a huge fan of it, but it ain't going away, right? I'm also not a huge fan of taxes, but they ain't going away either, right?
Yeah.
So you can either accept it or pretend it's going to go away. So just like here at Saracen, where I need to make sure that the folks in the kitchen have the right size rubber gloves, or that the folks who do, facilities have, Phillips head screwdrivers instead of just flatheads. Shame on us, not shame on Coach Pittman, if he doesn't have the resources to recruit and retain talent. That's up to us. And this is our way to help in some small way. And again, I'll say it, I hope all of the casinos will run these drawings, and we will not make a dime on this. The rules are written in such a way that there's actually an independent third-party auditor to make sure that the casinos are passing all the money back through. So that's it, right? We're prohibited by law, by the way, from giving to NIL. So we don't give directly. And it's too close to comfort for me anyway. We take more action on Hogs games than any other sports book in America. Got to brag for a minute. Y'all know this. Bet Saracen is the 14th largest sports book in America. We take more action on the Hogs than any other sports book on earth. Us making direct contributions from our money to players is a bad idea. That is too close for comfort. We are asking for problems. So what we devised was a plan where we create a drawing where the money never hits our balance sheet, where it doesn't have anything to do with happens on the field, right? Doesn't matter if we cover or we don't, or, whether somebody hits their props or they don't. It's a drawing. Never our money, never hits our balance. And at the drawing, half the money goes to the NIL and the other half goes to the dude who wins it. And that's my story.
Well,
all right, it's a 45-minute rant, right? Sorry, guys.
No, listen, like that's what we kind of do with this platform, man, is like, people want to know this stuff and know what's kind of going on. So you got to lay it out for everybody. But no, we appreciate you coming on and kind of just talking more about it. And, I know that, people know, at least I know for sure. It's like, I know you're a Razorback fan. I know everybody wants the Razorbacks to do well, and you're trying to do your part, man. So people got to appreciate that.
So I know you're trying to wrap up and get rid of me, but like, I am an open book. Like, is there somebody in the chat saying this is a scam or this is crazy or don't do this? Like, I will respond to any and all questions. I have no shame.
Well, I mean, man,
there's one guy really in his feelings, but outside of that, it's been mostly normal.
Yeah.
I mean, what's he saying?
A lot, but no, man. Any questions I even had in my brain, you usually answered them throughout, your time talking. So,
well, one of the biggest things there was, people asking about this idea. It's a good idea, but what's your cut? How rich are you going to get off of it? And you just kind of went through the whole thing.
Let's be straight up about it, right? Yeah. So I've got numbers. We think that the size of the market, and we looked at Rhode Island and Michigan. So we think that the size of the online gaming market in Arkansas is $124 million in the first year, right? Like I told y'all, I'm an open book. I think the majority of that will be us eating the Chinese casino money. We think at maturity, this could get to be as big as $400 million. Now, understand, those are huge numbers, but not in casino world, okay? Like, it ain't my money. I don't own this place. But $124 million in year one, I suspect almost all of that's going to come right out of the pockets of the illegal casinos. So yeah, I love the idea of online gaming. And to the guy who's asking how much we're going to make, great question. What's the catch, right? Something like this sounds too good to be true. Good for you. You should ask a question like that. We will make money on this. But back to what that legislator told me, I'd rather you do it than somebody we'll never meet and can never catch overseas. And what do we do with that money? We have employees. We have a business. I don't know if y'all know anybody that works at Saracen, but if you work at Saracen, we give you $5,250 a year to go to college, right? The frontline employees, they get a bonus every quarter, no matter what our numbers are, a retention bonus, right? I mean, on and on and on. This is a good place to work. So look, do we make a bunch of money? Yeah. But would you rather us make the money, or would you rather the money be made to people who have servers in Malta with Chinese money whose headquarters are in Australia? How much money do we make on the drawing? This I can tell you with precision. Exactly $0.00.
We now have people asking if you're hiring. So
yes. Okay. Well, hey, one more thing. Best job in the house is a dealer. We're way off topic here. Our average dealer's making like something like $70,000 a year. We run our own dealer school. So if you go to Tunica, they make you get like a Pell Grant or get a FAFSA, whatever thing, and student loans, and go to. Now we run our own dealer school. We'll teach you how to deal cards. We can teach you to deal blackjack in 12 weeks. We run the school at night, so you can learn to deal while you keep your day job. And 70 grand is pretty good. Some days I wish I was a dealer because the phone doesn't ring at night, and I don't have to talk about China and Michigan and Florida federal cases and everything else. But yeah, it's a hell of a place to work. And my dad told me never count another man's wallet. And I respect the question, because when something sounds this good to be true, you say, what's the catch? I mean, the catch is that we're going to make money. Yeah. I'm a capitalist. This is America. I'd rather we make the money than bad guys overseas. And if I can't get the permissions to run games of chance on the phone, we can't do the drawings, because the drawing is a game of chance. Yeah.
Well, also you got people wanting you to say, asking if you're going to run for office, and they'll vote for you. So
how about this one? Okay. So I worked in the state capitol for a very long time. And then I left and came to Pine Bluff and got into the casino business. And there's not a day in my life that I haven't thought about the fact that every moment of this job is far more honest than the time I spent in the capitol.
That's not surprising.
Yeah. I can believe it.
We're going to get to straight dope. The only thing I didn't do, because I know we're on a podcast, I'm used to talking on the radio. I did my best not to cuss. I don't know what your rules are. I hope I didn't cuss. I think I didn't cuss.
The rules are we have no rules.
Yeah, you can say whatever you want, technically. So
with that in mind, then, the Hogs don't need money for NIL is bullshit.
That's perfect.
And someone has resorted to bullshit to stop this initiative.
Well, and it needs to be not stopped. It needs to be actually done. And so hopefully it does get done. So everybody can
all
succeed.
in Northwest Arkansas? I know you are, John.
Yeah.
Yep. Fayetteville.
So the credit, when this is all said and done, there's two people that deserve the credit. One are the folks at the Edge. They came up with this idea. We did not. The whole idea of this drawing came from the Edge. And there's a fella named Bart Hester, who is himself a former student athlete. He was a Razorback baseball player. So he's the kind of guy that your parents wish you'd grow up to be, right? Like Bart's just a great dude. He's my friend. He was a hell of an athlete. His wife's beautiful. His kids are cool. I mean, Bart is the best. Bart is as conservative as anyone you will ever meet. That may not be something people in your chat log like, I don't know. But Bart is the one that deserves the credit for this. Bart plus the Edge. I mean, I've laughingly said that when we get this done and we're doing millions a month for NIL, they need to put a statue of Bart Hester outside of Broyles Complex, because he's the one that fixed NIL when this is done.
Well, yeah. I mean, listen, if whoever needs to get credit, yeah, it's a great idea, and it needs to happen again. I think everybody should be in favor of more NIL money, just straight up.
We've got to get over the idea that gaming is bad. And I'm not saying that because I'm a casino guy. It's already happening. So
yeah.
The question is not, do we want people to game on their phones? It's, do we want them to game with Arkansas casinos or with people overseas?
Yeah. Yep. People need to get on board. They need to get on board with it.
I hope this was not the most boring segment of the day.
It definitely was not that.
No, it was not that.
We took care of that early in the show for sure.
We talked about the depth of the safety position. So I feel like that's probably
for the third time in 4 days.
Yeah.
Did y'all watch the Olympics?
Yes.
Yeah. A little bit.
I watched a bunch of the women's events.
Oh yeah.
Just leave it at that.
Yeah.
That pole vaulter from Norway. Whew. It's
Yeah.
my anniversary week. What am I saying? I got to shut up.
Yeah. About to say, we don't want to get you in trouble, man. I know, like,
All my life, I'm like, look at this pole vaulter, you know?
yeah. Great at pole vaulting. Big pole vaulting.
I think women accounted for like 65-70% of USA's medals. So shout out to the women. They brought it home for us.
Yeah. I'm thinking about getting into women's boxing.
Oh, I know. Yeah, it would be. I've never watched it. Never
No,
watched a
like,
women's boxing.
It took me longer than it should have to catch on to that.
I feel like after what happened, I feel like I could win, right? Because like they let people that are balding and have the same equipment we all do apparently box. So yeah, no, I don't mean like watch it. I'm thinking I could like maybe go to the LA Olympics and be in the women's boxing. What do y'all
Throw
think?
some hands, huh?
Yeah, you might be able to win a couple events here and there. Maybe find a way.
Yeah. Domestic abuse, if you do it in Little Rock, you do it in Paris, you win a gold medal.
There, yep. It's a big difference there. It's the biggest difference there. Oh, and yeah, no, but I think people are on board with that. Carlton, man, it was great. It was great hearing from you, dude.
I'm
Great
always
talking.
here, man. You just tell me what you need and I'm here.
No, we appreciate it. We're gonna have to come down to Red Oak, man. It's been too long since I've been down there. Best steak in the state.
I sent you a picture. We're on the 11th floor of the hotel tower, and the 1,600 seat concert venue is huge. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Can't wait for it, man. Can't wait for it. So appreciate you and appreciate Bet Saracen and Saracen Casino and everything you do. Man, it's hopefully some things change and hopefully it gets going and hopefully it gets done.
Oh, we're moving in the right direction. I have so much respect for the governor, and you know, I think with the movement with the Razorback Nation, we'll get there. Sarah Huckabee Sanders has been great for our state. And, you know, I think the issue here is that there is a lot of bad information floating around and you cannot make good decisions with bad information.
No, that's true. That's true.
Send me your address. I'm going to send you some golf balls.
All right. Yeah. I'll shoot you a text, man.
All right. Bye, y'all.
Hey, appreciate it, Carlton. Thanks so much, man. It's good talking with you. So